What's up, guys? So I had a few requests to compare the S24 FE to the S24 Ultra. I think some FE users, they just want to see how it compares to Samsung's top of the line phone. And then you also got people trying to choose between both of these phones coming from an older phone. And you may or may not need the top of the line specs. I tell people that all the time. This is why I always tell people to go with, older flagships and stuff like that, because you may not need all the bells and whistles here. But guys, if you are thinking about the S24 FE, if you don't mind having an older flagship, go with an S23 Ultra, go with a S23 Plus. Highly recommend that. But again, a lot of people want, a new phone. So let's go ahead and jump in and see the pros and cons here. As far as build quality, they're both glass and metal phones. The S24 Ultra uses the titanium design as well too, and then we also have a matte finish on here. It is a boxier phone as well, and it is a little bit of a wider phone too, so you guys can see here they're both pretty big phones as well. As you guys can see, almost the same height. But yeah, you will notice that the S24 Ultra is not as comfortable as the FE in the palm here, because it's a boxier phone, so it kind of pokes the palm a little bit. You can fix that with a case, but it will make it, obviously a little bit wider and a little bit more bulky. But yeah, as far as the designs, two very good designs here. So one of the main things that you're going to be paying for is this S Pen. So this is a big, deciding factor here. Do you see yourself using the S Pen here? So the S Pen has a lot of great qualities here, and they've been adding a lot of cool stuff with the S Pen, like the sketch to image and stuff like that. So there's a lot of AI stuff that you can do. You can do this on the S24 as well too, but you can kind of just doodle, and you can use it to navigate the OS. It is Bluetooth as well, so you can take pictures from a distance if you're a content creator or something like that. So the S Pen could be pretty handy. You have Smart Select on here, and overall it's just a handy tool to have for sure if you guys are into just using a stylus in general. And then also for digital artwork is a big thing on here as well. The latency is so good on here that you could do really good professional digital artwork on here if you go ahead and look on YouTube. Now, if none of that interests you, then obviously that is a big deciding factor there. Also, again, both phones are IP68 dust and water resistant. Alright, so let's talk about the displays here. So this is where you will kind of notice that more premium kind of spending on here, which again, it may or may not matter. So the S24 Ultra has a slightly bigger panel. It's a 6.8 inch display. You also have a dynamic LTPO display on here. It is an AMOLED 120 Hz HDR10 plus, 2600 nits peak brightness. It does have a higher resolution at 1440p, and then it's 505 for the PPI. We have an 88.5% screen to body ratio with a smaller punch hole and much smaller bezels here. Now the FE's display is not that bad. It's a 6.7 inch display. It's dynamic AMOLED. It's 120 Hz HDR10 plus, and it has pretty good max brightness at 1900 nits peak brightness, but it is a lower resolution at 1080p and 385 for the PPI, and it has an 88% screen to body ratio. That's what the specs say, but it looks much lower than that in my opinion, especially when you look at the bottom. There's just no way. But yeah, so overall, you're paying for that more luxury experience. Now, when I'm looking at both displays, they both look really good. The colors almost kind of look the same as well too, as far as it being really colorful. The display is fine on the FE, so you really may not need that that 1440p resolution. Like the biggest thing here is really the higher max brightness, the overall better display design. But if you're somebody, you don't really care about all of the kind of like little fancy stuff with the bezels and the LTPO and stuff like that, and this does actually get pretty bright outdoors, so that's not really an issue there. But yeah, you're just kind of paying for that kind of luxury experience, but the display does look good even at 1080p on the FE. So let's talk about the processors here. So this is an area where I never get to use the Exynos processors here, so I've been kind of impressed with this processor. So it's got the Exynos 2400E on the FE model here. We also have 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM on the base model. You can see the score here is pretty good compared to the S24 Ultra here. That's why I said I was actually pretty impressed with this chipset. And then also, guys, you do get on the S24 Ultra, the top of the line processor here. We do get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. And then this model is 512 gigabytes and 12 gigs of RAM, but the base is 256. So you can see both running Android 14, both very good scores. The Exynos is just slightly behind here. When it comes to general performance and animations and stuff like that, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I can notice a difference, because I can't. These feel pretty much on par with general performance and animations. Pretty much everything that I do as a lighter user is virtually the same here. So I would love to say that, oh, the Gen 3 is just so much better and it's staying way cooler, but they legit feel the same, guys. So I can't really say that here. Google Earth, you guys can see just how smooth they both are. They're pretty much exactly the same speed, guys. So yeah, you can run benchmarks and stuff like that, but in the real world, they pretty much feel the same here. Let's see if we notice a difference here with PUBG here. Go ahead, launch. Yeah, guys, it's been pretty good with this Exynos. I know a lot of people were really waiting for me to trash the processor, but I can't. Boom, S24, faster, right behind it. We're in PUBG, and one of the first things that you immediately kind of notice here is got nothing to do with the gameplay so far, but the screen quality just looks so much better on the S24 Ultra. It really pops out when you come into PUBG here. But when we're talking about overall gaming performance here, the Exynos 2400E does a pretty good job with gaming. This phone is not really heats up like that, and you can see we can play at the 90 frames on here, and it's pretty smooth. And like I said, if you can get matches in PUBG and it's not heating up like crazy or anything like that. But you are going to get a better gaming experience. So if you are somebody who's a little bit more competitive, you get the full 120 frames on PUBG, and this will be across the board. You just get just a better optimized gaming experience, and overall, like I said, the screen looks nicer as well too. It almost is kind of making the FE kind of look a little bit, I guess, like not as colorful, kind of washed in comparison. So it really pops out when you're playing PUBG and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, very, very good gaming experience on both of these phones. But it's like I said, guys, you're paying that extra price for this more kind of premium experience. Now, it just comes down to if you're a gamer, right? Are you into video games? Because you can feel the difference between 120 frames and 90 frames. These speakers at max volume, we'll start with the FE. Alright, so here we go again with the quality difference. The quality of the Ultra speakers sound much better. It's slightly louder, it's slightly cleaner in sound as well too. And again, this is not a bad speaker at all on the FE. You can just kind of hear it sounds cheaper. Yeah, so easily a better speaker. And it's the same thing with the fingerprint scanner. So this is an ultrasonic one, and with the ultrasonic ones, guys, you can tap them lightly. You don't have to really apply a whole bunch of pressure and it'll go in. With the optical ones here, and this is a very small thing, like I said, it's not something that most people will care about, but with the optical ones, you can't like lightly tap these. You gotta apply just a little bit of pressure to it. So it's not slow or bad, it's just, it's like again, you're paying for that kind of more faster kind of luxury experience there. So this is what this is coming down to here, is the camera. So a lot of people are saying I never see myself using the 100 times zoom, or I don't zoom in like that. Then you probably don't need to get the Ultra if you're not going to take advantage of the cameras. Now the steals on here are pretty good, but I'm going to show you guys side-by-side comparisons. You guys can be the judge for yourself. The FE has a 15 megapixel standard, an 8 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It's got 8K 30 video and a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60, and it goes up to 30 times zoom, even though the max zoom is not going to be anywhere near as good as the ultra for sure. And then on the ultra, you have just a more beefed up camera system, which again you may or may not take advantage of. It's a 200 megapixel standard and a 10 megapixel telephoto. It's got 3x optical zoom with a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5x optical zoom, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 8K 24 and 30 for the video, and then a 12 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60, goes up to 100 times zoom. The zoom photography will be much better, 30 times, 10 times. It's just going to be an overall better camera experience, especially for video. If you're zooming in with video, it is a lot better. I want to touch on software. Both of these phones got the 7-year pledge as well too, so you will get a lot of updates with these phones. They both have the Galaxy AI features and stuff on here as well too, which is really nice. So you don't have to worry about that. And then also for battery life, my battery life experience has been pretty good on the FE. As a lighter user, it's kind of hard for me to kill these phones these days because the battery life has just gotten really good. So you have a slightly smaller 4700 milliamp hour battery versus the 5000 milliamp hour battery on the Ultra, and then the Ultra does charge faster at 45 watts versus the 25 watts on the FE, which you will notice it does charge a lot slower. You also have wireless and reverse wireless charging on both, which is really good. So battery life for me actually has been good. So you can go with the FE or the Ultra and get really good battery life as a lighter user. I think if you're more into gaming, you probably will again want to go with the Ultra for the better frame rates, and overall the battery life I think would be a lot better. But yeah, so that pretty much sums it up, guys. Like I said, you may not need to spend all that money, and you may be fine with the S24 FE. Especially if you don't want to get a older flagship, then this will be it'll be a pretty good purchase. A lot of people will be getting these on carriers and stuff like that. So if you get a good deal, I would say go ahead, go for it. But if you find yourself caring about the zoom and the S Pen and just the overall little bells and whistles with the screen and stuff like that, then definitely spend that extra money. I think you'll be happy. But that's pretty much it. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.